don't move along this happens.
Well, we'll move,
okay, that's fine. I don't even know where you're going with
we're
this.
We're at Javier Select. We're gonna have some bans, so I can stop talking and walking in circles.
Ah dear.
Okay, SK, get the ball rolling. Ban something. In terms of priority bans, Kog'Maw has been banned in every single game today.
I feel like Lulu should be banned in this game. Rek'Sai was... I wrote down Cog twice in the last game. Did they ban Rek'Sai in the last game? Do you have that? Okay,
no.
It's fine. They may have banned Rek'Sai last game. I didn't write it down properly. Anyway, the rest of the bans are TF as expected. Expecting the Kog'Maw that you were talking about. Graves actually banned out.
So we saw Graves in the first series as well, even though we thought his priority was going to go down because of the nerfs he had. Pretty big hit to Q. Over 90 damage at max rank is really big. Zed once again aims at SuNo because of Duskblade being a thing.
Whoa, hang on.
Instant Corki.
Instant Corki, that leaves Lulu available. Should they want to pick it for Mouse here?
Lucian.
Lulu, yeah, Lucian is available. What else is available? Kog'Maw is available. Like,
whoa,
I'm not going crazy, right?
Bans. Yeah,
Kog'Maw is available in this game.
That is Gangplank, not Kog'Maw.
Okay. So, we've heard a lot of people talking about the strength of Kog'Maw right now. Had his attack speed move from his Q to his W. Yep. Now it just has insane attack speed. When you hit that W, it's like, poof, just completely annihilate people with like 5. It actually makes a really weird sound depending on what
skin you use. Yeah.
Skin you use.
Like the firework one.
Firework one.
Really good when sped up to 5 times the speed.
The animation looks stupid though.
Yeah, it's like just a stream of fireworks. Vardags has the opportunity to go for the Kog'Maw here.
Well, the Lulu's been taken away, so I don't know that I'd be super comfortable taking the Kog'Maw, just from an inability to create like the Juggernaut composition, which we haven't seen in a while.
You could run a Janna with it maybe, or a Shen and a Janna. And then some peel from Gragas. They're setting up for a potential pick still, but they're just going to pick up the Gragas and the
Shen
for top lane.
So I quite like Dokgo's Gragas. Seemed pretty decent in the last game. Good ultimates coming through. Good tankiness. Extra damage came from him. The ability to slow and catch people. So I quite like that pick. And it seemed like sleeping was okay on Shen. Nothing out of the ordinary really to be done, but he's a Shen.
Yes.
Not really. Well, then I say that, but then last week we had, was it Whirlib building Titanic Hydra?
Sartorius.
Yeah. Sorry. I knew, I was going to say, I knew it was a top laner.
Yeah. Hey!
Got it.
It's the 1 in 6 play.
Well, I went with the one that normally, like, is that kind of weird,
it's like Russian
edgy,
roulette, you know, the 1 in 6, and it's just like, unfortunately, took the bullet on that one. So, unfortunate.
Wait, no, that's like the opposite. Because only one of them is right. In Russian roulette, one of them is
wrong. But you didn't win.
These are the bad odds. If you're playing Russian roulette and you're playing with 5 of 6 in.
5 bullets. The pick was another bullet, alright? Okay, so Braum was picked up with Kindred in probably jungle here. So we've got the AD carry, we've got the mid laner, we're waiting on the top laner.
This is all gone wrong.
This is what happens when the bullet hits from the revolver.
So Mouse wanted themselves an extra damage threat in this game, seemingly. Now that they've got the Lulu, they want to have damage coming from somewhere else. So they're saying, hey, let's get it out of the jungle. That'll be good. Which tends to be a good play, but we saw Kindred go a little bit badly into the Gragas earlier today. Gragas kind of almost hard counters Kindred's ultimate, just from the zoning. You just throw it in, knock her out of the ult. So SK are running the similar kind of composition, just without the Lulu. Yeah.
Exactly the same, without the Lulu.
They got a Janna, not a Trundler, but that is fairly different. Just from they're now lacking a little bit of the tankiness from this composition. Yes, they got a Shen, they got a Gragas, so that's fine. They maintain the disengage of the Janna and the Tornado as well, so it could still work.
Yeah, I was 60% right, but yeah, Janna picked up Corki into the mid lane. I'm waiting on the last pick from Mouse. They're hovering a Hecarim, but funnily enough, we saw a Hecarim earlier today. So, I mean, any other day I would have been like, nope, we're not going to see a Hecarim today, but Sartorius actually did very well with it. It was particularly good because it was into a Nivea, so the wall and the zoning control you have up, you just ride over it with the Spectral Riders and your ultimate. And, oh, okay, it's locked in. So Beansu going to be taking it. What is it with the Hecarims today? I was talking to Fisher, and he was just like, I don't think we're going to see it, you know, around the world. Maybe it's just like a Sartorius special. Beansu's picked it up.
Well, I mean, the one thing that specifically challenger teams, when you look at it, tend to be fairly bit of a step behind on some of the top teams is when it comes to warding flanks, rotating properly. So the ability to teleport and then flank with a champion like Hecarim is way easier in Challenger, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, warding tends to be a little bit more loose, you don't have everything covered, and that's where a champion like Hecarim can exploit that. Same kind of thing with like a Maokai, where you can very easily get those TP ganks to work. And this time, yes, they do have still disengage for SK, but now there's not the likes of a Lulu coming from the mid lane. There's far less shielding to be done for Vardags, so without now that ultimate as well, the wild growth could have more success. This now gives Mouse that flank option that they didn't have in the last game.
Yeah, they can punish really hard with Onslaught of Shadows into like Wild Growth, and then you just jump in, knock up, fear, knock back, everything. So we can have really good engagers and punishers from Mouse, which is something they didn't really have before. But they took really good team fights in the last one until they got punished around Baron. But SK, again, running the same type of composition. So my problem with this composition is, okay, it did really well, and they executed it well into the late game once they had the advantage, but it took them a long time to get that advantage in the first place.
Yeah.
And they got it off a mistake from Mouse. So can they get the advantage early game? That's kind of the question for me, but I feel like the way they won in the last game is not like a sustainable one.
Well, maybe not early game they'll get the massive advantage, but this game they at least have a Corki to round that off. So you've got somebody that's providing damage and the ability to group and siege. So it does change their composition a little here. When you take the likes of like Caitlyn's going to be effective in those siege situations as well. So there are other options available for SK in this game. Also, stronger options for Mouse when it comes to their engage. We already talked about that. Well, let's head on over to Twitter. Hashtag SKWin, hashtag MOU win. Do you think SK can pick up a second game, going from 0 to 2 perhaps? A 2-0 here would put them at 3 points. A loss here would leave them with 1 point and would be 1 point behind Mouse in the standings.
Well, for Martin's sake, I hope that Mouse win, because then his prediction will be correct.
Not for Martin's sake. I'm not
1-1.
Anything for Martin's sake. No, we want him to mess that one up again. Whoever knows. Who knows at that point? But Dan and Dokgo using the immortal language of spamming emotes. It's a little unfair.
Yeah, I mean, Dokgo said he can drink them under the table, but they are eternal spirits. And Wolf doesn't really have a body, so I'm not really sure if he could drink them under the table.
It depends what kind of spirits he wants to be drinking.
That was actually good. That's good. Hands up in the air. 10 out of 10.
Hands up in the air. I'm not like holding you to like laugh at my joke. Laugh at it.
It's the revolver. It's still got 4 bullets left.
Oh no. Oh dear. I'm done with that. I'm done playing Russian roulette with you at this point. But we'll see whether we'll end up in a lane swap situation. Doesn't look like it for now. Lanes are pretty much locked into standard lanes. So now is the test for SK. Against Nardius and rhuckz in this 2v2, they have Caitlyn, Janna. This is a lane that perhaps even more so than the last one should not lose this laning phase. Like, yes, they have Braum and a Lucian, but the damage alone that comes from a shielded Caitlyn on her harassment is not to be sniffed at, and especially with Vardags having that extra range, very rare that you actually break that shield because of the distance.
Yep, that's a true statement. There's not a lot of follow-up to that one, but in the bottom lane, they're just being pushed in, so they'll get the level 2 over them here. Mid lane, should see maybe a little bit more. I mean, Corki will probably farm for quite a while, and Lulu wants to be standing a little further back, but last time we had Victor Lulu, which is a whole lot of no real engaging. Vardags does level 2 we were just talking about, so they were able to get a little bit of punish onto Nardius before he goes back to turret, and those minions will be taken out. Beansu in the top lane, though, against Sleeping. Sleeping, another game on Shen.
Another game on Shen, his second game now in Challenger Series. We'll see how he can do against this Hecarim, though, because we've seen a Hecarim kind of run wild earlier today. Will we see it again? SuNo pushes forward right as Dan comes in.
The flash, the Glyph lance, the auto attack. Dan taking the last turret shot. First blood comes out, but there's the mark as well on the top lane. Beansu in a 1-on-2. That's a lot of damage onto Sleeping, but Dokgo is body blocking him. Drunken Rage, follow with the body slam. Sleeping coming back in and lands the Shadow Dash, blinds into the bush, and the kill into the top lane. Well played by both of the players there. There's a 1-on-1 total in the rest of the board.
Both junglers already having an effect on this game, but it's far more likely that that SK gank should have been successful when you look at Beansu not having his flash available. Whereas mid lane, SuNo on Corki normally is incredibly safe, especially against the likes of a Lulu, who does require obviously that jungler for that added kill pressure, even though she's running Ignite. Like Corki with heal, Valkyrie, and flash should not be getting caught out in that gank where there's very little crowd control. There's no real hard crowd control here, and that's just SuNo pushing aggressive and getting a little bit baited out in that lane while he was trying to harass and farm, and Sebekx and Dan exploit him pushing forward.
Top lane, Beansu has picked up the boot and corrupting potion now on that lane. Bot lane, just heading up. Oh, that's quite nice. On the way back, looked like he was going to go for Unlimited, but she shoots towards Vardags. Just small things in his bottom lane. Don't expect all that much to happen. Lucian Braum is usually a very strong synergizing lane, but Vardags is so far away and so far back, and also Unlimited as a ranged support, that it's difficult to punish them with Lulu Braum.
SuNo did spot Dan on that ward on the way in, so knows he can't really push up. He wants to, and Sebekx is actually letting the wave push away from SuNo to draw him further forward, but the fact that this is all happening on a ward means SuNo absolutely should not die in this engage.
He's wasting a lot of time from Dan, though. Just the fact that he's still playing up, he hasn't changed his play pattern, which is really, really smart. A lot of times if you see a jungle on the ward, you panic, you go back to turret, you alert them to your presence. SuNo is just playing so aggressively in the middle lane and just not changing how he was playing, but also defensive enough where Dan can't go for the gank and secure the kill 100%.
One thing I'm not really keen on here is SuNo has opted for the boots, and boots first on Corki. Like, you have Valkyrie available. Yes, he doesn't have a flash, but that tells me that SuNo is very concerned about how Sebekx is setting the wave up for himself. It's highly likely that he couldn't actually afford the component parts of like the longsword or the sorry, the component parts of the phage. On their own, they're actually not worth a whole lot. Like, one ruby crystal, one longsword isn't massive difference. Nevertheless, he has delayed his Trinity Force with that boots pickup for now. Would have maybe liked to have seen him get a pink ward. I don't know. I didn't quite catch exactly how much gold he's got, but considering he's so concerned about getting ganked, that normally is the way of doing that.
Yeah. I mean, pink wards are so easy to access nowadays with them being 75 gold. rhuckz gets 2 stacks of concussive blows, but Nardis wasn't in range to double tap him for the remaining 2. And now he gets a small trade-off, but Unlimited will just punish real quick. Lots of just small things happening in the bottom lane. Neither of them have gone back yet either. Top lane steeping up against Beansu, level 6 against level 5, but now Beansu hits level 6 himself. He's backing away to his turret, so this trade will carry on. But it's a Hecarim into a melee matchup, so he should get the advantage over time.
Over time, yeah, that is one of the key factors there. Beansu wants it, though. Yep.
There's the E, the follow-up, and
Ult
Rampages.
Still up, and Ignite.
Ignite, Sleeping will jump away with Shadow Dash. And I think Beansu just needs to chase him down, really. There's the Rampage. I mean, that was just straight up.
Oh, that was so sad. So for Sleeping, his flash was available. And he was trying to just get into the curve of the wall, because that is a wall that you can maximum range flash. It's a tough, tough flash, but if you don't get right snug up against the wall, you'll never make it. And it was maybe milliseconds for Sleeping. He was probably hitting F as he died there. Really unlucky timing for him, but you know, this, you can see where Dan is right there. You can see the ward debris. That was from a pink ward that Dokgo picked up, which was actually something I kind of wanted to talk about. Obviously, with having Tracker's Knife, plus now Dokgo putting pink wards down for SuNo, they are very concerned about how this middle lane is going right now. That amount of vision control this early on is fairly difficult to deal with for Mouse, but they did manage to find a spot where Dan could get into the jungle, clear out that pink ward, so Dokgo had to buy himself another one. SuNo's going to be heading back soon, has over 1,300 gold, so Phage or Shen are the options for him. We've seen people do both. He may opt for the Phage just to stay alive a little bit more here. I do tend to prefer the Shen if you're looking to trade, just because that upfront burst damage with Thunderlords is so difficult to read. We'll see though.
Yeah, just watching top lane. I personally am very interested in top lane 1v1s. There's a lot of tiny mechanical things that just go into trading, punishing for minion trades, etc. And specifically in this 1v1 with Shen and Hecarim, Shen is able to get small advantages after he just does a standard combo, the E, the Q, and then a lot of the damage that comes back onto you from auto attacks is mitigated with the Spirit's Refuge, which you just saw there where Beansu just lost the trade. That is what Sleeping was trying to do earlier in this one-on-one, but Beansu punished him because he was in kill range at 60%.
Really nice warding out from Mouse. This pink ward here spotted SuNo looking to head up to the top lane with the package. So now SuNo actually doesn't have too many options available with the package. He can either farm out the lane that's in front of him or just kind of expend it because it only has a 60-second cooldown. And he picked it up just after the 8-minute mark, so it is expiring soon. It means there's no theoretical play that can be made from it. You can see, look at the concentrated wards around mid lane. SuNo's actually standing on 2 right now. It's a pink ward and a regular ward. So they have him read very well. SuNo goes aggressive. Dokgo is here, though. Ooh, wow.
There's a lot of damage coming in from the middle lines. Bot lane, though, Vardags ultimate from Sleeping. The 4v2, Sleeping jumps in as well and tries to get the Shadow Dash off, and there's enough to zone this 4-man aggression away. Dokgo and SuNo roaming into the bottom lane. So in terms of the members moving around the map, 4 for 4.
4 for 4, so it was the Shen ultimate for the teleport trade. No real gain by either team. That allows SK now to have their teleport available, while Beansu does not have his. Sebekx is going to push out in the middle lane, but you could see the damage put down onto SuNo that made him not even contemplate going down to that fight. And that's the drawback here. The fact that SuNo went Shen first, as we said, helps him in his trading, but ever so slightly hinders him for now when it comes to his ability to take damage. Has slightly less health, now has a Ruby Crystal, so is a little tankier, but it's honestly a bit of a drop in the ocean when it comes to trading against Sebekx. In these early trades, SuNo really just needs to kind of hang on, wait for his Triforce, and then the team can look to group on him. But one question we raised coming into this game, how would Vardags and Unlimited do in the 2v2? And they are slightly ahead now. They're about a wave ahead of Nardius and rhuckz. It's to be expected on this Caitlyn, as we alluded to. Extra range, the ability to clear very efficiently, and have a Janna to disengage for you. So no real problems thus far for the SK duo lane.
Beansu heading into the mid lane now has picked up the Shen and the Swiftness boots, so it's a little bit of a change from what we saw earlier today. SuNo maybe caught out here, immediately hit with a polymorph, with Valkyrie over the wall. Dan is aggressive for the kill, the flash, dance of arrows and the kill. Dokgo with the taunt
he missed it.
Wide of Dan. That was actually really close. That is a taunt. I'm okay with you missing Sleeping.
Yeah.
Because he had flash available, so if he thought he was going to miss, he would have taunt flashed, but
so close.
It looked like he was going to hit.
Yeah. Dan obviously is very mobile as well. Hard to lock down a Kindred, so I don't feel like we should expect every taunt to hit from Sleeping, as much as it would be nice. Oh, 1v1. Vardags does not want to take that trade.
Can't miss that one.
It can hit somebody else, though.
That's true.
Sorry, just wanted to at least.
I mean,
does that count as a miss? I guess it kind of does. If it hits somebody else.
Yeah, it's not your desired target, so... I mean, rhuckz had flash and unbreakable and stand behind me, so he theoretically could have gotten in range. To prove a point, but... mid lane, SuNo.
That wasn't too worth it for Sebekx, just walking forward.
No, it was not. Sleeping, just getting more harassment onto Beansu. As long as you jump on your opponent as Shen and back off once your Spirit's Refuge is down, you always win the trade pretty much against most top laners, especially the melee matchups. You just need to make sure you're not followed up on like we saw in that first kill in a 1v1 with Beansu and Sleeping. Because once you get followed up on, especially by Hecarim, Hecarim can kill most top laners around 60%.
Oh, I've seen this before.
Yep. Looks like we're going on for a repeat, but Sebekx is getting chunked out. He took a lot of damage from the tower, and the flash, the ultimate, and the kill. Dan now in this 1-on-2 with Unlimited closing in. Lamb's Respite comes up, but I think he's pretty dead. Yep. Call it.
He's pretty dead, Pulse. That was
time of
way too aggressive from Mouse on to SuNo. I mean, Sebekx took so much damage in the trade, just underestimated what SuNo had to offer because of how the last few trades have gone. But SuNo just turns around, puts the damage back on him, and Mouse didn't really have the kill pressure there from Sebekx. He had no ignite, so even if they would have put extra damage down onto SuNo, Dan had to sit under the turret and kill him. And from there, they didn't really read that SK were grouping on mid lane. SK were already starting to move to defend that, and I think it was a couple of wards just in the river that spotted Mouse on the way in. I know that they've established an extra pink ward deeper into the river right now. I'm going to take a look at the minimap. Yeah, actually, there were 2 pink wards that tracked Dan all the way through this. You can see Janna already moving the Shen ult early onto Sebekx, and that's what allows them to take control of this place so quickly. Like, Unlimited is here already. Nobody from Mouse could react anywhere near quick enough.
And this was Dan dying.
Dokgo trying to get in on that. Trying to get in on
we
the
wanted, he just wanted an assist. That's all he wanted. Cool participation. But alas, his team was not there to give him that. Runic Echoes also picked on Dokgo once again. Seems like Dokgo, every time he goes into a week of EUCS, he picks a champion. And is just like, this is what I'm going to play this week.
Well, thankfully, his champion this week actually is a meta champion. Like, last week it was Zac.
Yeah, the week before it was Nidalee.
I wasn't super convinced with his Zac. By that I mean his Zac left a whole lot to be desired.
So did Nidalee. But
yeah.
Gragas has been pretty good so far.
Jungler on the other side, Dan is cosplaying Sonic right now. He's got to go fast. He's got Swiftness Boost plus Alacrity at 14 minutes into the game.
Huh.
Almost unheard of. I'm assuming that means Dan backed with like 475 gold extra and just went, I'll get my boot enchant. What do I want? Opts for the added movement speed.
I mean, it makes sense because in terms of itemization for Kindred, you're looking at more Sterax, sometimes a Ghost Blade, that type of thing, maybe even a rapid fire cannon. And those components aren't that fantastic, especially right now up against the composition. Like, you're not like, I really need a null magic mantle. Like, you're not thinking that right now.
That's true.
So if you want the boost enchant, in terms of the itemization, there's the opportunity if you happen to have that gold with you.
I would have just been like, pinks.
Yeah.
Buy pinks.
By 5 pinks. I can replace 1, but...
You know, there is sometimes nothing wrong with actually having 2 pinks. Vardags, they're going to teleport a pink for situations like this.
There is something wrong with this play as well. The ultimate actually lands right on the edge at the very end of the range. And now Beansu is able to come in here. Lambstrow's bite comes up. Vardags will walk back into it. The package comes in from SuNo. Maybe a decent amount of cleanup. rhuckz will take that last tower shot for the first kill. Sleeping also teleports into the fight with the ultimate. Now Beansu running back towards his team. The Wild Growth used on him to keep him alive. Sleeping drops low, so does SuNo. Flash after by Dokgo and secures him with the explosive cat into the body slam and kill. Dan and Sebekx now on the run. And Sebekx just, actually smites onto the red buff to get the extra bit of health there. Both junglers on the same page. 2 smites coming out, but the kill ultimately goes on to Sebekx. And Sleeping did not even need to come in there to clean up. That was a lot of kills.
And from what was a very rough game to start for SuNo, SuNo has managed to get to a point where he has enough damage even before his Triforce to be able to take these fights. And a lot of it stems from the protection he had in the laning phase. Every time Mouse wanted to go for a follow-up gank onto him, it meant that they had to fight into multiple people. This is like the 2nd or 3rd time that SuNo has had his team around him, and it's going pretty well for SK.
Dan is getting absolutely chunked away from this tower. Here comes the chair from rhuckz, aka the Winter's Bite, and now Dokgo will be heading back. So we're going to see the kind of start from that one, all the way at the beginning. Vardags getting clipped by the Glacial Fissure as well.
Yeah, so this was the beginning of the fight. Pink ward into the teleport from Beansu, but at this point they've committed to going underneath the tower. Vardags and Unlimited keep drawing them under, and from here, it's fairly easy that the package timing on this for SK was perfect. Really, they couldn't have asked for a better timing for that package to be used from SuNo in this game. And he turns around. There's a fair amount of damage left from Mouse that you can see turn and forces them back into the fight. But this is the ultimate that removes the rest of the damage from SK as Dokgo and SuNo are going to chase. You just saw the slow from that barrel, the buffs. Ah, it's sad, man. It's a lot of slow coming from Gragas. Very difficult to run away from him.
Yeah, surprisingly nimble for a man of his size. But yeah, 0-0-3 in this game, doing quite well. Something I didn't notice the first time in that replay was the fact that Lamb's Spite kept Vardags alive, which also gave time for Sleeping to come in with his ultimate. Had he not arrived, that would have gone way worse for SK, because the taunt then landed onto three people under the tower, which eventually led to another kill. So that was not a value, Lamb's Respite. all Dan wanted to do was keep Beansu alive. That ultimately got multiple members killed, but yeah, couldn't really look into the future.
Well, that's the drawback, unfortunately, is it's not only for your team, it's for everything. And
Yeah.
that's not always a good thing. One thing we kind of already spoken about on one side is a boot enchant for the jungler of Mouse. On the other side, however, SK Dokgo has picked up his distortion. Body slam flashes for everyone in this game. That's what he's doing with that. Just needs that flash cooldown. Make sure he can get into the fight, start it, disengage perhaps as well, a little bit quicker. I'm sure we'll see that come out. Have a greater effect as this game continues, but seems like the SK fans are behind them on this one, which is looking very positive for SK when you look at the game state right now. They've taken the advantage now. Over 1,000 gold in the lead RSK with the one game in the books already. So things are looking good for SK this week.
Pretty solid, maybe more solid now. Vardags ultimate on top of him. Dokgo coming in, the body slam and the ultimate and the kill. Sleeping's the one to collect that kill. And the bottom lane push now comes out. Here comes Beansu. Doing nothing. He's just pushing up the top lane. Now the bottom SK game pushing the bottom tower. I don't know why I just said that. Beansu takes the top tower and now will be carrying on pushing the top lane. Bottom lane will be changed, exchanged. SK pushing, getting gold, winning the game.
Nice broken sentences. Getting exchanged. Did they keep the receipt for that?
It's like a really bad rap.
Damn.
Change, exchange.
Please don't rap. Please, boss, do not rap.
Yeah, I'm definitely
It's not something I've ever heard you try and do, and I don't think it's anything I want to hear you try and do.
Me neither, Stress.
Oh dear.
Well,
no, now I'm picturing it, and this is not going well.
I need the full attire as well. I need like a cap and...
Isn't that how you dress on a day-to-day basis?
There's
a lot of zips everywhere.
That is true, yeah. So now all I need is the mad rapping skills. Freak was used to be a rapper, but I'm not a rapper.
Freak? Okay. I'm not, this is the point of no return if we start talking about that. I don't think I need to know.
Nardius is in the bottom lane. He's picked up an Essence Reaver right now. Pretty common for Spell Weaver AD carries, such as Lucian. Typically item build you go, then you go Rapid Fire Cannon after, despite the changes on the current patch. You want to go Rapid Fire Cannon over Shiv. I feel like we may see some champions move towards Shiv, but so far pretty much everyone's going Rapid Fire Cannon still.
Yep, just depends on the wave clear necessary for that. But honestly, this top lane is not quite going as expected. We were saying that, you know, Hecarim should do so well. The problem is Sleeping has been able to get into these fights. He's been able to pick up kills from the outskirts of the lane, not really focused on any kind of lane advantage. Getting across the map, getting himself involved, 3-1-3 overall right now. And is in a good spot.
Beansu opted towards the Triforce, which is what we didn't see from Sartorius earlier. He went full tank, which was actually what we saw when we started seeing Hecarim peter off towards the end of his reign.
Yeah, he went Spirit Visage first.
Yes, and this time actually going for the Trinity Force, more damage orientated. So actually, we'll generally start, like the power spike is not really enough against Shen, because even though you get damage from your Q, your auto attacks is still a big part of your damage, especially the E, and that all gets mitigated by Spirit's Refuge. So even in the one-on-one in short trade, Shen still wins, and additionally he's more tanky, and he's only itemizing armor. So it's actually very difficult for Beansu to trade with him in the top lane and actually kill him. He's moving towards middle lane now, so maybe he can make a play. Dragon is live, so both teams are setting up for it.
Beansu is waiting around the corner. I mean, normally you'd see a Hecarim waiting in spawn when he has teleport available. Is looking for the flank here, activates that W, wants to go in on Vardags.
Devastating charge onto Vardags, ultimate as well, but the Stand United's coming in, it may be in time, yes it is. Spirit's Refuge comes up, Dokgo with the E, the flash, and the jump onto Nardius. The package has been delivered, and following up onto Mousesports. Dan is dropping not low, he's shielded up by Lulu, and will be jumping back into his team. A 1-0 so far as the rockets come in from SuNo to put up the damage. And now Dragon will be turned on by SK Gaming.
Well, we were asking how good would this composition be without the Lulu? Well, they supplemented a little bit of the safety for Vardags with extra damage coming from SuNo, and it means that Vardags can just about stay alive as it is with the Shen ult, with the Janna here, and they've got an extra damage threat, which makes it even more difficult for Mouse to engage. So Beansu comes in from the side, manages to get onto one of the primary carries. The problem is, in comes the special delivery. So this is Beansu with the engage. Look at where the rest of Mouse are. They're not close enough to close in on this fight, and compare that with how fast SK are here. It's already on their side of the map, and in comes the special delivery. Vardags getting the kill is exactly what SK want there. SuNo doesn't need extra kills. He is far enough ahead now to be able to do things in this game. Like, he's got the Triforce, he's got his boots, he's already working on his next item. He is in a good spot. Now they need to really power up Vardags.
Going back onto the Dokgo point as well, because he's gone 12-0-18, he took Insight and also went for Distortion early, which means he's got 30% CDR on his summoner spells. So that means that is a big chunk of his flash. If you also went for...
Give me Lucidity boots.
No?
No, I said give me them on top of this. I want extra,
so
extra.
You have the, so that's what I was going to get to. If you have the Lucidity boots as well, it brings it up to 40% CDR, which brings your flash down to 3 minutes versus 5 minutes. So he's somewhere in between that. I don't want to do the maths right now, but it's a large chunk off it regardless. Even with just the 15%, it's 45 seconds. So actually you can just do the maths. 45s together.
I was going to say, you were close to IQing the point there, which is when you make when you like present a point but don't put it all together for a conclusion.
Now you do it.
It's a point without a conclusion, to be honest. And then you kind of added it on, so...
There you go. Bam.
Thanks.
So yeah, TLDR, he's going to be E-flashing a lot more in this game.
I'm glad we didn't establish that earlier.
No. I was reinforcing.
I'm glad 10 minutes later we've come back and
full circle.
Really grounded that point in
the circle of life. The circle of
Jungle
Gragas.
Week is over, Pulse. Okay, it's gone.
I just loved it so much. I just wanted to relive the experience.
Oh dear. Well, we've spoken a lot about jungle in this game, so it seems like it has remained. But
That's true. You want to pick another lane?
Support week. Let's go for it.
Okay. Tell me something about Braum or Janna.
Tell you something about Braum
Anything.
or
Pick a card, any
Janna.
card.
Neither of them are TF, if you're talking about pick a card. That is a factual statement.
It's true as well. Generally, facts are true. Good one, Pulse.
Not necessarily. I mean...
Have you ever read
like Uber facts where you read something and it's like, that's not true. People will call things facts when they're not actually facts, Pulse. People lie on the internet. I don't know.
Really?
You might be a bit young to have realized this yet.
Lincoln?
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
That made me really sad. They didn't clear the pink. They got 4 auto attacks on it. They ginned it.
They ginned it.
That's really like tilt-worthy because you have 4 auto attacks and you can never kill pinks.
I guess that's the thing, is after Mouse changed their AD carry, there was no Tarik to go with it.
Oh no. Oh no.
Vardags has got it.
Hey! Yep. No Jhin and Tarik. Feels bad. Well, now just got those minions.
This is falling apart.
It really. Well, nothing has happened in this game. Both teams are just farming the jungle, waiting up. I mean, waiting up. SK Gaming are just trying to scale up in this game because Corki is in a good place, trying to get Vardags to the same place in this game. And Mouse, they need to punish them. And because SK haven't made any productive plays, there's nothing to punish. But maybe they can do it now around this blue buff. Sleeping is not really taking a lot of damage, and Mouse get away with the blue buff. Smash and grab. They're out of there. I mean,
Mouse aren't really going to engage without the good flank. That's the problem for them. To do that, they need to have Beansu in the base. Beansu's not been in the base, so he hasn't had that home guard on top of it. It's a lot about the base. Base.
The buttery biscuit.
No! I started going there and I realized I'm like, I have to finish it. But Beansu at this point pushing through top lane. If they want to get that, in all seriousness, if they want to get that engaged, they have to recall and teleport in from the side. They do have some wards available for it now on the top side jungle, so that, I believe, is what Beansu is looking for. You can see how far up SK have pushed. There is the opportunity here for an engage. The problem is Sebekx is bottom lane, so even if they wanted to engage, the entire team isn't here. Beansu's waiting for it. Sebekx is crossing around, but he's been spotted as well. Beansu's pinging on the top side jungle, but SK are going to go down and out of this if the teleport does start.
Hecarim intensifies. He's looking for the opportunity.
Here we go.
Here we go.
He's going to come straight up mid lane.
Here he is. He's going to be moving quickly. He's actually going through mid lane. And now goes onto Vardags, but kind of passes straight through him. And the ultimate comes in from sleeping. He didn't ult, and now he's away from the team. Now they're all just retreating back to their base. And rhuckz is going to be taking the slow, chilly ghost thing.
That was the engage from Mouse. That's like the setup that you need.
Gotta be honest.
That's the setup you need. You've caught the Caitlyn on her own. Like now Beansu is trying to come through the side. Blue Trinket zones him away for now. That was really weird why Beansu didn't use his ult. I mean, unless he wanted to just get the E first, get the knockback and then ult, and then had second thoughts about it.
Maybe he was going back to his jousting days where you you just pass
you
by your
pass?
opponent. Right,
yeah.
Right. That's what he was trying there, but SK were not game for it, so nothing happened. In all honesty, I don't know what
really
they were doing.
Know. That was just a weird engage. Like,
yeah.
Especially once you commit the teleport, that's the kind of the engage where it's like, I'm going in, and if this fails, that's
then that was the call.
That was it. That was the team call. They didn't have the package. We went in, guys. It's fine.
Beansu pulled out.
At that point, I just that's a really weird one. Maybe there's an external factor that we didn't really have.
Maybe, but they were all clumped up. It looked good.
It looked good.
Take the shot.
But sometimes, Pulse, you'll learn this. Appearances aren't everything.
All right. That's very deep. Oh, sleeping. Maybe going deep here. Beansu's going to knock him into the team. Here's the kill. Here's not the kill because it's Shen. That's what happens when you catch a tank. Remember, sleeping doesn't really have ways to get his health back because before Vorpal Blade gave you health back when you hit things. Now it's % max health damage. So it does more damage, just less sustain. Dragon's being started up here, but committed. Vardags is taking this by himself, but he's going to take it real slowly.
Yeah, he's going to take that slowly. He even has two.
It's not like they have blue
figured it out. Yeah. It's not like they have 3 of them as well. Teleport is coming in now from sleeping.
Wait, SK had crab. Why did Miles do that? They were standing on top of the crab.
Right, but the crab doesn't give vision of inside the pit. That's
true.
So, I mean, they know that they've gone in there, and which means they're either taking a lot of damage while doing Baron and not being able to kite back out of the Baron pit because you haven't seen them run out.
Yeah.
Or they're standing still not doing Baron. So most of those things are still both determined by the blue trinket.
Yes, but the action that SK takes is always going to be the same.
Of course.
Barrel them.
Blue trinket and barrel, yeah, exactly. It's going to be the same thing every single time. Even without the crab vision. Yep. Even without the crab vision, you're still just going to blue trinket that. You're probably less likely to have the barrel happen.
Yes, you are, because what's the point?
Because you don't want to run forward in case they're in the bush if you don't have vision on it.
Yeah. We're seeing some very weird plays from Mouse.
Honestly, this is kind of whether we just didn't see these mistakes in the first game or there's just more of them in this game. This is quite a rough game when it comes to map play.
Yeah. And
the attempts to engage, the attempts to siege and rotate have been really off the mark, honestly, by both teams in this game. Like, SK had that good 10 minutes where they basically got SuNo in every fight, got the fight bottom lane, got a fight that spread up through that bottom side jungle, and they were able to get kills from it. But from there, haven't really done anything. And the reason is that rather than say, hey, look, we've got a Corki who's strong now, it's we have a Caitlyn who's not strong enough. And that's only because of the champion itself. Like, Caitlyn's been doing okay. She's about even on farm, which is not a massive problem, but isn't 3 items, isn't 4 items, doesn't have that real bite that you expect a Caitlyn to have. And that means SK are like, well, we can't really do anything with this. We kind of have to default to just clearing a wave, moving back.
Ultimate from Beansu lands onto Vardags, but he's feared away, unfortunately, sleeping into the fight. The taunt, the flash, this looks good. Onto 4 players. This is looking really bad for Mouse as they're being chased in. The front line is still holding from SK. Dokgo trying to get in range. The ultimate comes in, the ace in the hole. Dan pops his ultimate to Lamb's respite, while the rest of his team runs away. The double kill coming out there. The auto attack will follow Dan over the wall. Nardius is picking a risky bush. Unlimited, the 1 and 3. Where's the ball?
He's out, but it doesn't matter at this point because SK, they're taking Baron. And, you know, we spoke so much about that added cooldown on the Gragas. Turns out he only needed one body slam flash to really turn this around. I think he actually hit like 3 or 4 people by flashing on top of the fight. Yeah. I do want to see that again if we can, just to double check. I know that there was a barrel after the flash came in. Pretty sick engage.
Yeah, Sleeping landed 3 to 4 man Shadow Dash.
Yeah, and I have a feeling Dokgo did the same as well, or at least with the body slam. So this was the start of it. I want to see, was the taunt first into... Yeah, it hits 3 people with the body slam. So Sleeping caught the front 3. Mouse kind of got... Dokgo got the overlap at the back, catches in the middle and 2 more. And that's a done team fight. Like, there's no way Mouse with the squishy composition, when you look at the likes of their jungler, when you look at the likes of their AD carry, there's not enough protection there from them. Yes, they've got a Hecarim who has a fair amount of health and a Braum, but it's just not enough. They can't stay alive.
Yeah, that was just the old magic trick game where you have to find the ball in the cup, and Nardius was the ball.
Oh, okay.
And the Janna was the person picking. Pick the one on the right. Hello, SuNo. This is now the adventures of SuNo. Oh, he finds Nardius. What was that damage?
Well, that was so that was E for the Triforce empowered auto, which procced the Thunderlords, all hitting at the same time.
Yep.
The circle was complete. That's how you make one auto attack incredibly strong.
That was a lot of damage.
But after that, there's still a lot of damage, but it's not quite that.
We hit him 3 times and he died.
Just that's like one punch thing.
Oh, yeah.
I unfortunately don't watch One Punch Man, so I can't go further. I'm sorry, I set people up for failure. So many people have talked about it, but I honestly have nowhere else to go. Vardags!
He goes in with the ultimate. He's knocked back. The monsoon comes out. And Beansu will just be going down. He's being wild growth, but that's only going to keep him alive for an extra fraction of a second. And they can just take down this turret now. Small pokes at a time. Ultimate comes onto Dan. It's going to be blocked up by the shield there. But this is really just going to be the end of the line for Mouse. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take SK to close in. Mouse are coming in with the chase here, though. And Unlimited and Sleeping are heading into the mid lane with the rest of the team. This is really just Mouse trying to cut off the bleeding, and SK will almost certainly take this game.
Cut off the bleeding? That's not how you stop bleeding.
It is if you're infected by a zombie stress. You cut off the arm.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
but
you cut off the bleeding.
At this point, it seems like SK have risen from the dead. This is going from a 0-point start of the week to looking like a 3-point end to the week. That's a good swing. Dan, he's caught. Uses his ult to save himself, actually saves one of the primary damage dealers.
That's unfortunate. Vardags will be on a killing spree. There's another kill. Nardius just came back to base, and he's right back to base, but this time in the fountain. 3-0 SK. That may have just opened up the chance for them to pick up this game here. And Sleeping will be taking this tower down with the rest of his team. Here come the minions as well, streaming into the base. And Sebekx and rhuckz don't even really want to contest. There's no fancy points to protect, but they'll do it anyway. And with this win, with SK closing in and taking down the Nexus over Mousesports, Deficio is wrong.
Oh dear, people are going to stop doing those predictions.